Okay, here the statement is given for total probability theorem. What is the statement of total probability theorem? If B1 comma B2 so on up to Bn be a set of exhaustive and mutually exclusive events, and A is another event associated with or caused by the events B1, B2 so on up to Bn, then the formula is given as P of A is equal to P of B1 into P of A given B1 plus P of B2 into P of A given B2 so on up to P of Bn into P of A given Bn. So this formula can be written like this. P of A is equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to n P of Bi into P of A given Bi. Here I is ranging from 1 to n. So you can substitute n values from starting from 1 instead of I. Okay. So I value is varying or ranging from 1 to n. So the above formula can be written like this, or it can be the above formula can be simplified as summation, taking the summation. So sigma indicates the summation. You can substitute the values of I from 1 to n. Okay. So now we are going to prove the statement. Proof is given here. In the given statement, it is mentioned that B1, B2, so on up to Bn be the set of exhaustive and mutually exclusive events. Already I explained the definitions of exhaustive events and mutually exclusive events. Okay. Here A is considered as another event which is related to or which is caused by the events B1, B2, so on up to Bn. So here we have to draw the circles like this. Okay, to indicate one event A, we have to draw one circle, and to indicate another event B, which is split into B1, B2, B3, B4, so on up to Bn. All these are the events in B. So this circle can be drawn like this. So here we have two circles. One is outer circle and another one is inner circle. We have two circles. Okay, so while explaining the problems related to set theory, actually we will draw the circles like this. Please wait, I am drawing here. So in case of set theory, we will draw the circles like this. This is the common portion for the events A and B. But here, one circle is drawn inside another circle. So we have two circles. One is outer circle and another one is inner circle. Because A is the event which is caused by the events B1, B2. That's why the area is intersected. Okay. So here, what is the intersection part? The outer circle is divided into slots. In the first slot, it is written like this B1. In the second slot, it is written like this B2. Next B3, B4, so on up to Bn. So we have to identify the common portions for the events A and B. What is the common portion for A and B1? This is the common portion. So this is the common portion for A and B1. So we have to write like this A intersection B1. Similarly here, this is the common portion for the events A and B2. That's why you have to write A intersection B2. Okay. Here we have to write this is the common portion for A and B3. That's why you have to write A intersection B3. Similarly, you have to write like this. Okay. Here one circle is drawn inside another circle. That's why these are all the intersection portions only. Okay. This first one is A intersection B1, second portion is A intersection B2, third portion is A intersection B3. So the event A consists of all the intersection portions only. Okay, because the event A, the circle corresponding to event A is drawn inside the another circle called event B. Okay, so all these are the intersection portions only. Now A can be written as, how can we write A, event A? How can we write the event A? Here one statement is given, A intersection B1, comma A intersection B2, so on up to A intersection Bn are also mutually exclusive events because B1, B2, B3, so on up to Bn are mutually exclusive. So here the common portions are also mutually exclusive. Gopi Priya. Gopi Priya.
By mistake వచ్చింది.
Okay. So here A can be written as A is equal to A intersection B1 union A intersection B2 union so on up to A intersection Bn. Because by combining all these intersection portions, we will get the event A only. By combining all these intersection portions, we will get the event A. So the event A can be written as A intersection B1 union A intersection B2 so on up to A intersection Bn. By combining all these intersection portions, we will get the event A. So combination means you have to put the symbol union. Okay. Now apply probability on both sides. Probability of A is equal to probability of the expression on right hand side. So after applying probability, you have to add the terms. Okay. In case of union, you have to add the terms after applying the probability. So right hand side expression becomes P of A intersection B1 plus P of A intersection B2 plus so on up to P of A intersection Bn. Let this be equation number 1. Okay. So P of A is equal to, we have to add the terms because union is present here. After applying probability, this union becomes plus. Okay. Now, already we know the formula for conditional probability. What is the formula for conditional probability? P of A given B is equal to P of A intersection B by P of B. This is the actual formula. But why should we put I here in the suffix of B? Here we have n events. The value of I is ranging from 1 to n. That's why you have to put I. Okay. So probability of, generally what is the formula for conditional probability? P of A given B is equal to P of A intersection B by P of B. That is the formula. But why should we put I here in the suffix? Here we have n number of events for B, not only single event. We have n number of events for B, event B. So we have to write I in the suffix. So where I is ranging from 1 to n, that is what written here. So this is the formula for conditional probability. Now take this denominator to left hand side. Take the denominator P of Bi to left hand side. Take this term to left hand side. Or take this term to other side. What will happen? P of A intersection Bi is equal to P of A given Bi into P of Bi. Okay, here we are taking this denominator term to other side. Okay, then we have to multiply these two terms, which is equal to probability of A intersection Bi. Let this be equation number 2. Okay, now we have to substitute equation 2 in equation 1 because all the terms have intersection. Probability of A intersection B1, probability of A intersection B2, like that all are mentioned with intersection part. That's why you have to substitute equation 2 in equation 1. Okay, while changing the I value from 1 to n. For example, if I is equal to 1, P of A intersection B1 is equal to P of A given B1 into P of B1. That's what you have to write here instead of P of A intersection B1. Okay, if you substitute the I value equal to 2, P of A intersection B2 is equal to P of A given B2 into P of B2. That's what you have to write instead of second term. Okay, so on up to I substitute n instead of I. So P of A intersection Bn is equal to P of A given Bn into P of Bn. So you have to write like this. After substituting equation 2 in equation 1, you will get the expression like this. Okay. So this can be simplified as this one, isn't it? Because I value is ranging from 1 to n. Here we have 1 in the suffix. Here we have 2. In the third term we will have 3. So on up to in the last term we will have n in the suffix. So after simplifying this expression, you will get P of A is equal to sigma I is equal to 1 to n P of Bi into P of A given Bi, where I value is ranging from 1 to n. This is the statement of total probability theorem we have proved here. Okay. So remember, I am repeating just important points. This is the statement of total probability theorem. We have to prove this formula. Okay, to prove this formula, we have to consider the two circles to indicate events A and B. Okay, so here A is inner circle, B is outer circle, and in the event B, we have n number of events, mutually exclusive and exhaustive events, B1, B2, B3, so on up to Bn. So we have to draw the circles like this. Actually, in case of set theory, we will draw the circles to indicate a small common portion, but here each and every portion in A is common portion only. Each and every portion in A is common portion only because this is inner circle. Okay, inner circle is covered by outer circle. So each and every portion in event A is intersection portion or common portion only. So by combining all these common portions, we will get the event A. So A can be written as A is equal to A intersection B1 union A intersection B2 union so on up to A intersection Bn. Okay. After applying probability on both sides, P of A is equal to P of on both LHS and RHS sides we are applying probability. After applying probability, we have to separate the terms by adding because we have union here. Union means you have to add the terms individually. Okay, let this be equation number 1. Already we knew the we know the definition of conditional probability that is written here. Here we have to write I in the suffix of B because I value is ranging from 1 to n. That's why you have to write like this. From this formula, probability of A intersection Bi is equal to probability of A given Bi into probability of Bi. So let this be equation number 2. Now substitute equation 2 in equation 1. So after substitution, we will get the formula like this. Now this formula can be simplified as this one by taking the summation, whereas I value is ranging from 1 to n. Okay. This one is completed. Next one, Bayes theorem. Here, the statement of Bayes theorem is given here. If B1, B2, B3, so on up to Bn are the set of exhaustive and mutually exclusive events associated with a random experiment, and A is another event associated with B1, B2, B3, so on up to Bn, then the formula can be written as P of Bi given A is equal to P of Bi into P of A given Bi divided by sigma I is equal to 1 to n P of Bi, P of A given Bi. Whereas I value is ranging from 1 to n because we have n number of events for B, B1, B2, B3, so on up to Bn. This is the statement of Bayes theorem. Now we have to prove this. Here proof is given for you, very easy. This proof is mainly based on total probability theorem. That is what I have already explained now. If you understand the concept of total probability theorem, then you can understand easily Bayes theorem. So all of you see the proof once. Here proof, we know that the conditional probability is given by probability of A intersection BI is equal to probability of BI into probability of A given BI. That is what already I told you in the previous concept. This formula is written here. Probability of A intersection BI is equal to probability of A given BI into probability of BI from conditional probability concept. From this formula only it is written like this. Okay, so now we have to consider this formula to prove the Bayes theorem. Okay, so probability of A intersection BI is equal to probability of A given BI into probability of BI. Okay, so what about this one, second term, probability of A into probability of BI given A? This one indicates probability of BI intersection A. Probability of BI intersection A. Both are same. Probability of A intersection BI, probability of BI intersection A, both are same. That's why we are equating the two terms. Okay. Actually, probability of A intersection BI is equal to probability of BI into probability of A given BI. This already we know. Okay. But what about this one? What about this one? Probability of A into probability of BI given A. What this indicates? What this formula indicates? Probability of BI intersection A. Probability of BI intersection A. Both are same. That's why we are equating these two formulae. Let this be equation number 1. Okay. So by equating these two, we have to write like this. Probability of BI given A. We have to consider this. Because according Bayes theorem statement, we have to get the formula for probability of BI given A. According to the statement of probability, according to Bayes theorem, we have to get the formula for P of BI given A. That's why consider this. So P of BI given A can be written as P of BI into P of A given BI by P of A. Here we are equating these two terms. Probability of A intersection BI, probability of BI intersection A. Both are equated here. So you have to take P of A to the other side. Then it will go to the denominator. So P of BI into P of A given BI by P of A. Let this be equation number 2. Okay. So from total probability theorem, this denominator can be written like this, isn't it? This is also already proved. According to total probability theorem, we have to write P of A is equal to sigma E is equal to 1 to n P of BI, P of A given BI. This statement is already proved. So let this be equation number 3. Substitute equation number 3 in equation number 2. Okay, that means in the denominator, P of A can be written like this. Sigma E is equal to 1 to n P of BI, P of A given BI. So after substituting equation 3 in equation 2, you will get the formula for Bayes theorem. So here Bayes theorem is also proved. Okay, once again see this from starting onwards. So here, if you observe the formula, P of A given B is equal to P of A intersection B by P of B. P of B given A is equal to P of B intersection A divided by P of A. P of A, B intersection A, P of A intersection B, both are same. So from this concept only, we have written the first formula while proving the Bayes theorem. So in the first formula, if you see, P of A intersection Bi is equal to P of Bi into P of A given Bi. Probability of Bi intersection A is equal to P of A into P of Bi given A. This is the actual formula, but both are same. Probability of A intersection Bi, probability of Bi intersection A, both are same. That's why we are equating these two terms. Let this be equation number 1. Now, from this formula, we have to write P of Bi given A. Probability of Bi given A is equal to P of Bi into P of A given Bi by P of A. By equating these two terms, we have to write P of Bi given A, formula for P of Bi given A, because we have to get the formula for P of Bi given A in Bayes theorem. That's why you have to write like this, and you have to take it to P of A to other side, then it will go to denominator. Let this be equation number 2. According to total probability theorem, this denominator P of A can be written like this. So let this be equation number 3. After substituting equation 3 in equation 2, you will get this formula. This is the statement of Bayes theorem. We have proved already. Okay. This is the statement of Bayes theorem. We have proved now. Now we are going to solve the problems based on total probability theorem and Bayes theorem. Okay. So in this class we discussed two theorems. First one is total probability theorem. Second one is Bayes theorem. Now we will solve the problems based on this. Now let us solve the problems. All of you see the first problem. Two boxes are selected randomly. The first box contains 2 white and 3 black balls. Second box contains 3 white and 4 black balls. So we have to solve 2 points here, 2 bits here. What is the probability of drawing a white ball? What is the probability that it came from box 1? Okay. So what is the probability of drawing a white ball? That is first bit. What is the probability that it came from box 1? That is second bit. We have to solve 2 bits. Okay. So here, first of all, we have to select the box because we have 2 boxes here. From those 2 boxes, we have to select 1 box. So what is the probability of selecting the box? It may be box 1 or box 2, whatever it may be. Here we have 2 boxes. That's why we have equal probability for choosing the box 1 and box 2. So P of B1 is equal to P of B2 is equal to 1 by 2. 50% probability for taking each box. Okay, because here we have only 2 boxes. P of B1 is equal to P of B2 is equal to 1 by 2. That is written here. P of B1 is equal to P of B2 is equal to 1 by 2. So there is 50% probability or equal probability for choosing the box 1 and box 2. First of all, we have to select the box. Okay. While solving the A bit, we have to choose the box first of all. Okay. What is the probability of drawing a white ball from first box? What is the probability of drawing a white ball? That is the given bit actually. Okay. We have to solve A bit like this. What is the probability of drawing a white ball? What is the probability of drawing a white ball? That's what we have to calculate. Okay. That white ball may come from box 1 or that white ball may come from box 2. That is not mentioned here. So we have to calculate both probabilities. What is the probability of drawing white ball from box 1? What is the probability of drawing a white ball from box 2? We have to calculate both and we have to add. That is called A bit. So here solution is given here. See this. So while solving first bit, A bit, we have to choose one box from the 2 boxes. We have 50% chances or equal probability for choosing the box. Okay. So what is the probability of drawing a white ball from first box? P of A given B1. according to conditional probability, we have to find the probability of drawing a white ball, provided that it must come from box 1. How many white balls we have in box 1? All of you read the problem. First box contains 2 white balls. Actually, box 1 has 5 balls. Totally 5 balls. So from those 5 balls, we are picking 1 white ball. So 2C1 by 5C1. That is the probability. 2C1 means we are selecting 1 white ball from the 2 white balls. Divided by totally how many balls we have in box 1? 5 balls. So we have to choose 1 ball from 5 balls. 2C1 by 5C1, which is equal to 2 by 5. 2 by 5. Okay. Next, what is the probability of drawing a white ball from second box? How many white balls we have in second box and how many total number of balls we have? How many balls we have in box 2? That's what we have to see now. So in the given problem, we have 3 white and 4 black balls in box 2. 3 white balls and 4 black balls in box 2. Okay, so among those 3 white balls, we have to pick 1 white ball. Okay, totally how many balls we have in box 2? 3 plus 4, 7 balls. 3 plus 4, so 7. So we have to write like this. What is the probability of drawing a white ball from second box? 3C1 by 7C1. So you will get 3 by 7. Okay, according to total probability theorem, we have to find P of A, probability of event A. What is event A? Drawing a white ball. Okay. The white ball may come from box 1 or the white ball may be chosen from box 1 or the white ball may be chosen from box 2. Okay, that is the box name is not mentioned in the problem. Whether it is box 1 or box 2, it is not mentioned in the problem. So you have to find both the probabilities. And finally, we have to add according to total probability theorem. So according to total probability theorem, P of A is equal to P of B1 into P of A given B1 plus P of B2 into P of A given B2. Okay. Now, what is the probability for choosing box 1? 1 by 2 into P of A given B1 means already it is calculated 2 by 5. Okay. Next, P of plus P of B2 into P of B2 means probability of selecting second box. That is 1 by 2 into P of A given B2 is calculated as 3 by 7. So you have to substitute 3 by 7 here. Okay. So add these two terms. 1 by 2 into 2 by 5. 2 gets cancelled. You will get 1 by 5. Okay. Similarly, here we have 1 by 2 into 3 by 7. In the second brackets. 1 by 2 into 3 by 7. So we have 3 by 7 to 14. So 1 by 5 plus 3 by 14. Solve this by taking the LCM. You will get 29 by 70. Okay. Very easy. Okay. This problem is based on total probability theorem and Bayes theorem. Okay. A bit can be solved by using total probability theorem, whereas B bit can be solved by using Bayes theorem. So based on 2 problems, so based on 2 theorems, this problem is given for you. So first A bit is solved by using total probability theorem. Now let us discuss how to solve the B bit. Okay, B bit is given like this. What is the probability that it came from box 1? That means what is the probability that the white ball came from box 1? Okay, so this B bit can be solved by using Bayes theorem only. By using total probability theorem, we cannot solve B bit. Okay, So here B bit is given like this. What is the probability that it came from box 1? Okay, this B bit can be solved by using Bayes theorem. Here formula is given for you. P of B1 given A is equal to, B1 indicates box 1. Okay, so what is the probability of choosing a white ball from box 1? That's what you have to calculate here. So P of B1 given A is equal to P of B1 into P of A given B1 divided by sigma I is equal to 1 to n P of Bi into P of A given Bi. All of you see this. This denominator is nothing but total probability theorem. Already while proving the Bayes theorem also I told you. This denominator is nothing but total probability theorem. So according to total probability theorem, P of A is calculated and the value is 29 by 70. So you have to write 29 by 70 in the denominator. Okay. About denominator, you need not to worry because that is total probability theorem only. This formula is nothing but total probability theorem. According to total probability theorem, P of A is calculated as 29 by 70. That's what you have to substitute in the denominator. Okay. Now see what about numerator. P of B1. The probability of selecting box 1 is 1 by 2. Okay. So probability of selecting box 1 is 1 by 2 into what is value of P of A given B1? P of A given B1 is equal to, here we have P of A given B1 is equal to 2 by 5. So substitute in the given formula. P of B1 is nothing but 1 by 2. P of A given B1 is 2 by 5. So 2 gets cancelled. You have 1 by 5 in the numerator and 29 by 70 in the denominator. So calculate the value. You will get 14 by 29, that is 0.48. Okay. Is it clear? This in the numerator we have so according to Bayes theorem, we have to calculate P of B1 given A. So what is the probability for this? P of B1 given A means the probability for getting the white ball from box 1, particularly from box 1. So this bit can be solved by applying Bayes theorem. Okay, this is the formula of Bayes theorem. This denominator is nothing but P of A. The denominator is nothing but P of A. P of A is calculated from total probability theorem and the value is 29 by 70. So you have to substitute here 29 by 70 in the denominator. Okay, numerator, in the numerator 2 gets cancelled. You have 1 by 5. 1 by 5 by 29 by 70. So solve for those. You will get 0.48. Okay. You have to practice more number of problems based on these concepts. Okay. I am explaining just the simple problems or model problems. You have to solve the number of problems. The list of problems will be given for you. Okay. In the next class, I will give you the problems you have to solve based on the concepts of conditional probability, total probability theorem, Bayes theorem, addition theorem on probability. So based on all these concepts, you have to solve the problems. Okay. Next, see the second problem. First of all, I am explaining the problems. I am explaining the method to solve the problems. If you understand the basic concept, then you can solve the number of problems very easily. See the second problem. A bag contains 4 white, 6 red and 8 black balls. A bag contains 4 white, 6 red, 8 black balls. Okay, 4 balls are drawn one by one with replacement. Remember this point, with replacement. What is meant by with replacement? If you draw the ball, you have to identify the color and then you have to put it in the same bag. That is called replacement. Okay. You are not supposed to keep the ball with you. You have to just put it in the bag again after identifying the color. Okay, that is the meaning of the word with replacement. What is the probability that at least one is white? What is the probability that at least one is white? Okay, here a bag contains 4 white, 6 red, 8 black balls. You have to draw the 4 balls from the bag one by one with replacement. What is the probability that at least one is white? Okay, among the 4 balls that are drawn, at least one ball should be white ball. What is the probability for this event? We have to calculate now. Okay, since the see the solution. Since the balls are drawn with replacement, the events A1, A2, A3, so on, A4 are independent. Here we have 4 events, A1, A2, A3, A4. Drawing the first ball from the bag, second ball, third ball, fourth ball from the bag. All these events are independent. One event does not depend on another event. Okay, if you pick the ball from the bag, it may be white. If you pick the ball from the bag second time, then the ball may be again second time also may be white, red, black. So whatever may be the color, one event does not depend on another event. So these 4 events can be treated as independent events. Okay, what is the probability for these events? P of A1 is equal to P of A2 equal to P of A3 equal to P of A4, which is equal to 4 by 18. How can we get 4 by 18 here? 4 by 18. How many balls we have in the bag? Totally 4 plus 6 plus 8. 10 plus 8, 18. So we have 18 number of balls in the bag. So from the 18 balls, we have to pick white ball. How many white balls we have? 4 white balls. So we have to take 4 by 18. We have to write 4 by 18. All the events are independent. So they have equal probabilities. You have to write like this, 4 by 18. From the 4 balls, from the 4 white balls, we are picking one white ball. That's why you have to write 4C1 in the numerator. Okay, we have totally 18 balls in the bag. That's why you have to write 18C1 in the denominator. 4C1 by 18C1 becomes 4 by 18, which can be calculated as 2 by 9. Okay. Next, see the formula. What is the probability that at least one is white? At least means at least. From the 4 balls, actually we have to draw the 4 balls from the bag. So among these 4 balls, at least one should be white. At least one. That means one ball may be white ball, or 2 balls may be white balls, or 3 balls may be white balls, or 4 balls may be white balls. At least one means one ball may be white ball, or 2 balls may be white balls, or 3 balls may be white balls, or 4 balls may be white balls. That is the meaning of at least one. Okay. Actually, we know that what is the maximum value of probability, any probability, what is the maximum value for probability? 1. The maximum value of probability is 1 only. Okay. So the maximum value of probability is 1 only. The probability that at least one is white is given as probability of A1 union, A2 union, A3 union, A4. We have to calculate this one. Okay. So which is equal to 1 minus probability of A1 bar into probability of A2 bar into probability of A3 bar into probability of A4 bar. Why are we subtracting the product of these probabilities from 1? Because 1 is the maximum value for probability. For any probability, the maximum value is 1 only. The probability values lies in between 0 and 1, including 0 and 1. That is first axiom of axiom definition of probability. According to we have three axioms. In the axiom 1, I told you this point. The maximum value of probability is 1 only. So from this one, we are subtracting this value. Why are we subtracting this one? Here, probability of A1 bar is calculated here. A1 bar means A1 complement. A1 bar means A1 complement, which is equal to 1 minus probability of A1. Okay, because 1 is the maximum value of any probability. So from 1 we are subtracting P of A1. Okay, so to calculate P of A1 bar, we have to write like this. So 1 minus, what is the value of P of A1? 2 by 9. 1 minus 2 by 9 is equal to 7 by 9. Okay, so all these events are independent. That's why they have equal probabilities. That is already written here. The value is 2 by 9. So the complement of A1 is 7 by 9. For A2 also, P of A2 bar also, you will get 7 by 9. P of A3 bar also, you will get 7 by 9. P of A4 bar also, you will get 7 by 9. So you will get 7 by 9 4 times. 7 by 9 into 7 by 9 into 7 by 9 into 7 by 9 4 times. So you have to write 7 by 9 whole power 4. Okay. So 1 minus 7 by 9 whole power 4. You have to subtract this value from 1. You will get some finite value. Okay. Some finite value in between 0 and 1. Is it clear? Here what you have to understand is, why are we subtracting the complements of these events from 1? Why are we subtracting the complement of all these events from 1? What is the difference between A1 and A1 complement? A1 means drawing a white ball. A1 complement means it is not a white ball. Okay. So probability of A2 means drawing a white ball. Again, probability of A2 bar means drawing another ball. That means it may be red or it may be some another color. What are the colors given for you? White, red, black. Okay. So except white, we may get the another color also. That probability we are subtracting from 1. That's why it is written like this. Probability of A1 complement, A2 complement, A3 complement, A4 complement. Okay. Actually A1, A2, A3, A4 are the independent events which indicate drawing the white ball from the back. But A1 complement, A2 complement, A3 complement, A4 complement means drawing a ball which is not in white color. Okay, that means it may be in red color or it may be in black color. Okay, so probability of A1 bar means drawing a ball which is not white in color. Similarly, P of A2 bar means probability of getting the ball which is not in white color. Similarly, P of A3 bar means probability of drawing a ball which is not in white color. So not in white color means it may be red or black. That is not important here. Okay. So first of all, we have to take the complement for all those events and we have to subtract the value from 1. Then you will get this one. Okay. Isn't it? The number of balls should not be reduced because after drawing each ball, we have to identify the color and put the same ball in the bag. So here the given word is with replacement. With replacement means we have to replace the ball in the bag. After drawing the ball from the bag, you have to identify the color and put it in the same bag. Okay, is it clear? Okay, here we have to draw 4 balls from the bag one by one. One by one means one after the another. After identifying the color, you have to place the ball in the bag. That is called with replacement. So A1, A2, A3, A4, these four events are independent. So and all are equally probable. So the value is 4 by 18 because 4 white balls in the bag, totally 18 balls in the bag. So 4C1 by 18C1, you will get 2 by 9. Okay. So this, I think you understood this problem. You have understood this problem. Okay. Next, remaining 2 problems also you can solve very easily.